Hello, and welcome to Your Brand Express podcast, the podcast where business owners, authors, coaches get a chance to articulate their processes and how they express their brands. With your hosts, Carl and CJ Aline. Get your favorite cup of coffee or tea and get a notepad and enjoy the ride. Are you a coach, author, speaker, or service provider who is afraid of speaking on camera? Join the Confident Video Star Nation to overcome your fear. Connect with other professionals, gain access to exclusive resources, trainings, and tools, and learn the skills to become a confident video star. Join now and start your journey to success. Go to Facebook and type in Confident Video Star Nation and join the nation today. All right, everyone. What is going on? We were hanging out with the amazing, the wonderful Tonya R. Taylor from Savvy Biz Builder. Tonya, how are you doing today?
I am well. I am excited. I am awesome. How are you two doing today?
Awesome. Thanks for asking.
Awesome.
Been a great day. Can't complain.
Nope.
Friday.
Friday.
But this is going to be out Tuesday. So,
right. on a Tuesday. That's right. That's right. Yes, and it's great to have you on board, Tonya. You know, Tonya and I, we're in the same mastermind group, and it's just great to see you in the group, and we're able to all grow with our businesses.
Absolutely.
And I was like, we got to have Tonya on here. We have to have it. So we're able to have you on here. We are so excited to have you aboard. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So we're going to get started. So CJ, do you want to start the party?
Yeah. I got a question, Tonya. Can you basically just tell us, about your audience and who you serve? Like who is your target audience?
Well, first, let me tell you, online, I'm known as your Savvy Online Business Builder, or Savvy Biz Builder for short. I basically help medical spas or anybody in the beauty industry, and the beauty industry is growing. It could be anything from people doing wellness to cryo skin to lashes, but really my target audience is people who focus on beauty and wellness. And basically I help them go from being the best kept secret in their town to getting found by people who are actually searching for their services online so they can book more appointments.
Wow. That's awesome.
Love that.
Yeah. Because we got a couple small businesses out there. Shout out to the small business people. That's awesome. I think, can you come to Boston? I think you got a couple of small businesses out here that could definitely use that. That's awesome. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's such an amazing niche that you're going with too. You're going after, and I love the explanation you gave. That was so eloquent, but it's so thorough. I think about, I know people do you even do hair salons too, or is that
I haven't ventured into the hair salons. That's a different dynamic for me. I'm more focused on the type of businesses that need they might have traditional spa services, but they're also integrated with cosmetic services as well. That's a multi-billion-dollar industry where these type of facilities, they usually have or have to have a doctor on staff, or they have to have a qualified nurse on staff as well. So my focus is on those types of businesses, but that doesn't say the hair salons or anybody in the space can use this information, but that's generally who I focus on. It's one of those things that, if you're going fishing and you may be fishing for a trout, if you catch another kind of fish and you want to fish, you're not going to throw it back, so I'm still going to work with any of those type of clients, but that's my target audience.
Your target audience on point and said really well. That was really cool how you said it too.
Well put.
Take note, y'all. That was really, really awesome how Tonya said that. Please take note. There's some nuances there. Yeah, best kept secret.
Best kept secret.
Yes. So Tonya, there are businesses out there who are like, hey, listen, I want to do my business, but it kind of gets difficult with even having a plan. And with being online, being online changes the whole game. So, how can businesses increase their online visibility without having without having developed any kind of detailed plan Like how
So
would
one
you?
of the things about being online, what it does, especially for local and small businesses, it levels the playing field, right? It gives you the same resources that the larger businesses have, the corporations have. Gone are the days where you needed a big budget to advertise only on TV or in the newspaper. Like, some people might say, what's a newspaper? Like, you don't even know what a newspaper is anymore, because you don't have them physically touching, or even magazines have scaled back. So what online marketing does is level that playing field. And some of the things that they can do to really get started without coming up with a detailed plan out the gate is really to maximize some of the tools that they have at their fingertips that Google offers. And one of the big tools that I like to focus on is, specifically for local businesses who have a brick and mortar, is focusing on the Google business profile. And there's still a lot of businesses out there who don't even know what that is and how that can benefit them.
Right. That's a big deal. And I've gone back and forth with that too, to be honest, because I love the whole online space. So I'm thinking, hey, how can I reach someone in Australia? How can I reach? But also, I want to reach people locally as well. So that's something for CJ. That's something for us to look at as well. And to be honest, I was knowledgeable a bit, only to a certain extent. But to be able to understand that more is so important. I have an idea of how important it is, but I know for me, I don't have the full scale. That's why it's exciting even having you on board in the podcast episode, so we can learn from you.
Absolutely. So one of the things, I'm giving you guys homework. If you actually have a physical address, you don't have to have a location, but if you actually have a physical address, you should sign up for that, because it's people within a certain mile radius that's looking for your services. And if they are already looking and they don't see your business show up, well, they're possible going to other clients. And that's the beauty of Google Business Profile. Of course, we all know, whether you love them or hate them, I'm on the love side of Google, that they own 90% or more of the market share. And it's become now a verb. Oh, I'm just going to Google it. I'm going to Google it. It's a thing. I'm going to Google it. And that's the thing that's the first thing that they're going to do. So Google gives preference to people and businesses, not people, to businesses who have a Google business profile. And when you Google something now, you'll see that on the side. You might pay attention to it more now when you Google something.
Awesome. Yes. I literally never knew about that. Never about Google business. Because, well, for me, I do YouTube. I know about some things, but it's cool. Google owns a lot.
You
know what I'm saying? So that's cool. I got homework to do after this. What I gotta do. I know what I'm doing.
Homework.
Love it.
Yeah, that's go ahead, CJ. Oh no, that was you're the man.
Yeah. I was just gonna say to our people watching, our small business owners in this video, watching this podcast or listening, you guys should definitely look into that. I think that's a massive opportunity for any local business, any business just trying to get themselves out there. And I actually had a question about that. Like, do you have, that's one of your tips, but do you have any more secrets on how we can get exposure to our small businesses out here?
So again, the main thing, and really the first step would be focusing on your Google business profile. And there are a number of reasons why. One, because it increases visibility. It puts you out there in ways that other things can't. The other part of having a Google business profile is you show up on Google Maps. You don't just magically appear on Google Maps, right? You have to optimize your Google business profile to show up. You have to make sure your information is correct on that, meaning your name, address, and phone number. Just like in the beginning, when you introduced me, you put my middle initial in, because Tonya Taylor could be out there, right? But I always tell people, if my middle initial is not there, more than likely it's not me, because that's part of my brand, Tonya R. Taylor. So it's the same thing with your business. If you have your business out on the web and it's spelled two different ways, well, Google doesn't know which one to show on the map, right? So they will rely on what you put on your Google business profile as the end all be all. And you want to make sure that carries through on everything, that it's listed the exact same way throughout all of the places online.
That's a golden nugget right there. Do y'all get that? I know, because, Tonya, I know there are a lot of people out there who they're like, okay, like for me, my name's Carl A. Allen. So it's either Carl A. Allen or Carl Allen I want to be known by, and being so intentional, putting that out online. But there's some people like me who might be laid back, and sometimes I'll say it like that, and other times I'll say Carl Allen. But you're saying it's important to make sure you are intentional about how you present your brand, even to the point of your name.
Intentional and consistent, right? Pick one, which one, and even for you, I mean, maybe your last name is spelled a little bit different. Tonya Taylor is really popular. You would not believe how popular my name is. So for me, early on, I recognized how important it was. I had an incident when I was in college. It was another Tonya Taylor. They sent me her grades and sent my grades to her. Mine were better, but they didn't pay attention. And I think at that time, they didn't pay attention to the middle initial. Mine was there and hers wasn't. And they just went straight with Tonya Taylor. So again, and this could happen in businesses. You might look out there and there could be two businesses with the same name or similar spellings, or maybe it's one business. You don't know unless that person is consistent.
Right. Now I appreciate that. It's like common sense, but it's like, even it doesn't matter if it's common sense. It's so important to know that, because it's so easy to miss, because it's just one of those things like, well, we should already do it, or we're not thinking about it. We're not conscious of it.
Right.
So, wow, we appreciate that. Yes. I love that. I love
these tips. It's awesome.
Great tips. And so, Tonya, in your experience, what are the most effective techniques for keeping customers coming back, so that they could make sure they get most of the market share?
Thank you. That's a very good question. And I have to preface again, mainly my focus is local businesses, but most of these tips really apply for other businesses. So one of the things they want to make sure that they're doing to keep people coming back is provide good customer service. Provide good service that's memorable, right? I mean, it all starts there. And we can all think about when you have a bad experience, bad news travels way faster than good news.
Right.
And if somebody does something wrong, they're going to tell their friends or post on, I went here. And now in the environment that we're in, they're taking pictures, they're saying whatever, they're tagging the business and saying how bad it is. Right.
Yeah.
But usually if somebody has a good experience,
right,
they forget to say something. So it's social proof. You want to make sure that you give good customer service and prove it. And the main thing in the online world and for local businesses that prove it is reviews. A lot of businesses are not in the habit of asking for reviews. This has to be routine part of business. This has to be routine part of their follow-up. Whatever product or service you're offering, when I'm talking about the service industry, you make sure that you have a process in place to ask for a review, even if they gave one before. Even if they've given 10 before, because every time someone gives a review, they are more comfortable. They might say something different. You never know if it's that little golden nugget word or phrase or something that's in that review. And you can use those reviews all throughout your business, on your website, on your Google business profile. And specifically on your Google business profile, there's a place on there where you can ask for reviews. And there are tools and techniques around that to make that a more automated process, so you don't have to remember to do that on a regular basis.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I really got to get into this. Like, I'm just getting all these nuggets. This is good. This is really good.
Right. And, and I love what you said too. Like, yeah, these are for, you target, you focus on the local businesses. In my mind, even when I'm thinking about local businesses, that they have that advantage if they're, getting those reviews in this online and people could see it, and, you're able to show up in that way too. So that, in my mind, I'm like, that's exciting, because that gives you an advantage if you're conscious of it and you take advantage.
Absolutely. Think about it from this perspective. All of us shop on Amazon, right? I mean, it's a necessary evil now. And the first thing people do, especially if you're buying a bigger, sometimes smaller product, You look and see the reviews. You read the reviews. You see if the reviews say verified purchaser, right? Some people don't even make a purchase unless they look at the comments. If you go on Yelp, if you're even if you go on Google, when you look at somebody's when you Google your local pizza place, and right underneath that, you'll see their Google business profile and you'll see reviews. And a lot of times you may not purchase something, you may not visit someplace based on the reviews. So like I said, people do not hesitate to leave a bad review. You have to encourage people to leave the good reviews, because bad reviews are going to happen. Whether we like it or not, everybody's not perfect. Somebody could be having a bad day and they perceive it as bad service, or whatever the reason may be, right?
Right.
But if you encourage people to leave reviews, then you can balance and have 10 times more good reviews and that one bad review. And I'm the same way. I'm going to look at the numbers. If it's a couple bad reviews, okay. But if it's a ton of bad reviews and no good reviews, I'm probably not going to do that. I'm definitely not going to eat there. If it's a restaurant, I'm definitely not doing that.
Facts.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the way that people can really put themselves out there and be different in the market that their competitors may not be thinking about.
Right. And I love how you talk about having a system with it. It's funny. I've been thinking about systems a lot, not just with business, but my whole life in general, because when you have good systems, even when you're off, you could always get back to your system.
Yeah.
And you could always make it better. And that's just going to enhance your growth all around, So
absolutely.
I love the fact that you said that. That's a good reminder for us, CJ.
Right.
Great.
So true.
Good systems. Solid.
And systems are living, breathing, I'm not going to say a process, because every time you do it, you think of, I can shorten this step. I need to add another step. But the idea is to have those systems in place so that, you said it helps reduce the fact, or not eliminate, but reduce the ambiguity, so that having a bad day may not be as bad if you're following a process.
Ooh. Yes. Do you know how important that is? I love when you said it gives it, we said it a different way, but it gives it breath, and it makes it, in my mind, it makes it come alive. And I love how you talked about how you can keep adding to it as you're going. It's like a living and breathing organism. I know I said it differently than how you said it, but I love that. Again, because it's interesting. My wife, she has her business, and we've been thinking about a lot about that, and just talking about systems and the importance of it and what it does for you. And I find that when I have systems, great systems in place, it just helps. I mean, there's a lot going on in the business, right? But it just relaxes my mind more, because I have something in place and it's solid, and I can move forward with it, no matter what. Good day, bad day.
Yes. And you don't have to think. You go to your system, you go to your process, and people might think, well, a system is this elaborate thing. No, a system is a checklist. It's as simple as a checklist, right? And early on, I did not realize that. I made a checklist for everything, partly because I don't want to have to remember what I did the first time if I'm going to do it again. I want to make it easier for me the next time around. And then I'm always thinking about that next person. If I'm doing a job and somebody has to come do it for me or behind me, or I hire somebody, I want to be able to hand them something and say, these are the steps. We can go through them. We can refine them, but these are the steps at least I need you to start with.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Fundamentals. That's
Value
awesome.
Value bomb. Yes.
I think it's oh, my bad. I was gonna say, systems, it's crazy. Like anything successful has a strong system.
Absolutely.
Like anything that has success, that is consistent, that works, has some type of system set in stone. And I just think, like, I want to apply that in, like, my life in general, you know what I mean? But also with business, of course, like having a set in stone system to where if you took a week off, a month off, on a vacation and came back, that system's right there. So you just follow it and you'll see success. And that's awesome.
I agree. Yep.
Yes. Go for the systems. Yes. Love that. CJ, got another question?
Yeah. Well, honestly, you honestly answered my question. I was gonna ask, just like what is something that you could set in stone to help with consistency? That's awesome. With so many trends online that go on online, and when it comes to strategies and things businesses go for, how can we make sure that we don't waste all these hours researching and getting all these clients? Like, what's some way that you can, speaking of systems, how can we, what's a good system that you have or suggestions?
Well, a couple of things. And this, I would say, would be before you get to your systems in terms of strategy. A lot of businesses don't think about who they're targeting, which we've talked a lot about. And I always tell people, if you say everybody needs my business, it's for everybody, then it's for nobody. If you walk into a room and it's 100 people in there and you're trying to talk to all 100 at one time, unless you're on the person on the stage, you can't do that, right? So everybody needs a niche or a niche, whichever way you want to pronounce it, and figure out who they specifically want to talk to. In that room of 100 people, CJ, it might be 10 people who are gamers that you want to talk to. It might be 10 people in there for me who are medical spas. For Carl, it might be 10 people who are small businesses who need your services to learn how to get on camera. But all 100 people may not be your target audience at that period of time. So that would be the first thing, is to make sure that you find your niche and then become an expert in that niche. And in terms of being an expert in that niche, even for local businesses, you want to make sure you do interviews like this. There's a commercial out, I don't know if you've seen it, for one of the insurance companies with Alicia Keys. And the whole thing is, there's a podcast for that. There's a podcast for that. Have you seen that commercial? You'll probably pay attention the next time you see it. I don't even know what they're, I know it's insurance, but I don't know what they're even selling. But every other word, she's like, there's a podcast for that. And it's like, yes, there is a podcast for everything that you can think of, because, again, there are no newspapers are limited. So there's podcasts and there are YouTube videos and there are all types of ways to get interviews locally for local businesses. And then if you don't find them, create one of your own, right? Gone are the days where you needed to get into a studio and have all this elaborate equipment. And you guys know this is your area, but right, what do you need? Good sound, good light, and a cell phone. And I'm team Android, so I'm not gonna say an Apple. You're gonna need a good phone. That would be an Android. Okay.
Apple, man.
But do those interviews. The other thing is write articles. There are a ton of online websites in your niche that want content. We know people are busy, people are lazy, people don't know what to write. So if you come and say, hey, I have this article about this thing that's top of mind in our industry, here's the article, you can have it. It's unique. I've written it, it's for me. And then you can show that you're an expert and write about that thing. You can be a speaker at conferences. Again, if you have a niche, there's a whole website dedicated to conferences. You can find a conference for everything. You can hold your own webinars for your audience that you already have. Maybe you have clients already. Maybe it's some little thing that they want to know about, something that's coming up. If you have a brick and mortar location, you can hold an in-person event. I would say an in-person webinar, but an in-person event, information session. So really, the thing is just understanding your target audience and making sure you have that niche so that you aren't wasting your time trying to talk to all of these people at one time, and you can focus on the people that you're really trying to reach.
Yes. She said it all. Look, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. Yes. I love that. Just focusing on that target audience. But I love that analogy when you talked about, it makes it visual for our audience, just going into a room. You're not going to try to talk to 100 people, and everyone. You're going to go for those specific people. And I love that. Perfect. Well said.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes, I love that. And so Tonya, my question is this: as a Savvy Biz owner, a Savvy Biz Builder, could you tell us about your mission and how you help overwhelmed companies target their ideal clients for a steady flow of leads? Leads. People talk about leads and the importance of it. Finding new customers, Even if you're a brick and mortar, either way, people need new customers. Like, what would you say? How would you approach that?
So there is a process that I like to follow, and I have what I call my Savvy Online Business Builder process, and it's really a 4-step process, right? It all starts with having a good foundation. When we're talking about online, when we're talking about anything, whether it's a house or a car, you need a good foundation for that. So in your business, you need a good foundation. What is your foundation for online? That is your website, right? We're not in the phase where you still need a website with all of these tools, because the website is the one space that you own, you can control what's happening. So you need a good website, one that's up, one that's not crashing, one that's doesn't have a bunch of spam, your content is current. You need a good foundation. The second part of that is you need what I call a strategy. You need to understand what is strategically am I doing with that website and creating content, and not just for the website, but I usually draw this cloud that represents the website, so people can show them that everything starts from and leads back to your website. So whether you're on social media, you're doing podcasts, you're on YouTube, you're on all these different things, it starts at your website and goes back and forth to all of those other areas. So you need to have a good content strategy, and from there you need to have a good plan in terms of how you're going to distribute that content. Creating content is good. And we know, Carl, from our world, right?
Well,
our world is all about content, and people take it for granted, but you have to have a good strategy, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming with your content.
right.
And then once you have that content, you have to be able to distribute it to all of those places. Again, it should be on your website. It should be on YouTube. It should be on social media. And of course, we've learned how to take one piece of content and make it 5 or 6 things out of one thing.
Right.
So, and that's step number 3. And then the 4th step, which hardly nobody does, and this is a game changer too for small businesses, you have to look at your I'm going to say analytics. That's the technical term, but you have to monitor and measure and track, right? What gets monitored and measured gets a result. You don't know. This is why people don't get on the scale. They don't want to know how much they weigh, because if they know how much they weigh, they have to do something about it, right?
Right.
So you have to look at your analytics. You have to understand what's working online. Where's traffic coming from? Is traffic coming to you organically because you're doing all of these things that we've talked about? Are you getting traffic directly because you've spoken on stage, or you are doing an interview and you mentioned your website? What's actually working? Are you paying for ads? You need to know what's working, because once you find out what's working, you need to do more of that and less of what's not working. Maybe there was this niche podcast that you were on and it drove a ton of traffic. Then your goal would be to get back on that podcast as many times as you can, right? Or start one similar to it. So the fourth one, analytics, is really what gets left out a lot, but everything has analytics. You can use Google Analytics, you can use Facebook Analytics. Everything has some form of analytics.
Right. Love it.
Okay.
That's a great 4-step process. I love that. And it's cool because with that process, it's solid, it's tangible, it's there. And I like how you you talked about the analogy of the cloud. And no matter what, even as you go navigate throughout each quarter or each of the year, or however you measure, you could always go back to it. You could always take notes. Even when you feel like you fall off, you could always get back to it. And getting into that habit, creating that system, sets you up for success. So,
right.
That's true. You talked about how, even with content, people can, I find that, even dealing with clients, people get, it's so intimidating to some as far as content, because sometimes people look at, and it's so easy to compare yourself to other businesses or thought leaders or people you see online and say, I got to do that exactly. But I find finding your groove, and there's so many ways to do content. You can find your groove and with the analytics, you can measure and figure out what's working and what's not working, and then go to that specific thing, like you mentioned, and work that.
Absolutely. Can I give another tip around content?
Yes,
And
please.
Absolutely.
again, I'm gonna say it specifically for the beauty industry, the way I'm gonna give the tip, but any industry can use this. So one of the things you should do is create a content calendar. And people might think, oh, that's a big deal. But there is a day for everything. There's National Ice Cream Day. There's National Clean Your Junk Drawer Day, right? So there is on the calendar, there's a beauty, somebody put together a website for beauty holidays. And even if you don't look at that, you can look at the National Day calendar, I think is what it's called. But every month has at least a day or two, right? Even if you focus on that, like for the beauty industry, January. In January, there's a day called National Winter Skin Relief Day. Okay, so if you're doing some kind of medical spa services around skin, you need to focus content on that day, whatever the content is, whether it's an audio, a video, a webinar, or all of the above. Then you have months like February, their traditional Valentine's Day, but then get to March. Guess what they have in March? In March, there's a day called Lip Appreciation Day. I mean, who would think? So if you're getting in a medical spot and you're doing lip fillers or anything around that, you should focus on that day. Let me give you one more. Like in April, there's a day called National Stress Awareness. Everybody's stressed out. Now, this is the one thing I can say that your business is for everybody. Everybody's stressed for some reason, right? But now, even within the stress area, you can niche down. Maybe you're talking about school teachers who are stressed. Maybe you're talking about gamers who are stressed because they sit in a chair. Whoever you're talking about, but you as a business, as a beauty industry, medical spa, and you do anything around stress relief, massages, or whatever it is that you're doing around stress release, that's another day. So that's another tip if you want to make it your own, so you don't make it difficult. Look at the calendar and say, I'm going to pick 12 things. Even if you do one thing a month and you're going to focus on that one thing, that will put you ahead of all of your competition.
Wow. Ooh, I hope y'all pick that up, pause it, and then rewind it and play it again.
That's smart. Like, to stay on top of trends, like there's a lot of, like there's honestly, I've been seeing like every day on some, Google might have a type of holiday like every day, honestly. Like yesterday might have been National Bird Day or something. I don't know. But there's like a holiday that people follow these trends. But that's really a good point that you say. Like, there's a day that talks about stress. There's a day that talks about going outside and playing. Like there's different things like that you can really implement with your business. You can have fun with it. And like you said, like add it to a system. It's like kind of upgrading a car. Like if you have a car, it's functioning, you're getting from point A to point B, but you can add some things to it to sharpen it that makes things more simpler, to make things better and smoother and a better experience. So like, I like that. I love that right there.
Yes. Wow, good tips, and it's funny as a content creator. It's like, it's so there are basic things that are so important, so key, but it's so easy to miss. For clients, it's so easy to miss, but as a content creator and even in general, it's so easy to miss, but it's so helpful to do.
Right.
And once you do it and you have a system with it, you feel amazing. And it's not that hard. It's not that complicated, and I know it's intimidating for some. We make it complicated.
We make it complicated.
Right. It's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, a good over 80%, I dare say, but once we get in that habit of doing it, it's just like fitness. We get into the habit of doing it and we're able to serve people on a higher level and a better level.
Absolutely.
So, yes. Come on with that wisdom now.
Okay, Tonya, can you share with our audience the top 7 business mistakes people make when it comes to lead generation and local search?
Sure. That's a great question. There are a ton of mistakes, but there really are 7. And I may have talked about them throughout this conversation, but just to like kind of summarize, I'm going to maybe mention some that we've talked about before and go in depth in a couple that we haven't mentioned. Okay. So I think and these may not be in, order highest to lowest, but these are the things that come to my mind. And again, one of the biggest mistakes is not having a specialty or niche. If you're in the beauty industry, find that niche, find that one thing that you're going to focus on. That doesn't mean you can't offer services around the other thing. You focus on that one thing to get them in the door, and then you give them add-on services to complement that one thing. The other thing is not keeping your website up to date. And this is, again, really relevant for local businesses, because that's the first thing that people are going to see. With pretty much any business now, the first thing somebody's going to do is Google them, right? And if you have a business and you had a promotion on there from Christmas and it's 4th of July, somebody might think you abandon your business. You don't take care of your business. Any number of things could run through their mind. So you would just want to make sure that you, again, have a process and a system. If you're doing promotions, if you're doing content, then make sure it's relevant for the point in time, and keep your content updated and fresh. And even if you're just rotating, you can create an article about Christmas and just rotate it back in December, or all of the different things that could happen throughout the year. Just rotate it back at that point in time. Another thing is, and you guys are going to love this one, is not using video in your business. And I'm guilty of this one, and I've done video and I need to do more. And it just goes back to what we're saying before. You don't necessarily have to have this polished video. You can pull out your phone, do a quick video, do a quick tip, do a quick, if you're, again, a medical spa in your local business, do a quick scan of your business. Talk about a product or a service. It can be quick, it can be simple, it can be easy, but we all should be using video. Another thing is not having a call to action. We don't think about that. You might ask, and this is a call to action on your videos, on your website, on anything that you do. Even if you're talking to somebody in person, the call to action is, do you want to book an appointment? What do you want to do? You want to see more information? You should always lead them to the next step that you want them to do. Another thing we talked about is not standing out on Google, making sure that you're maximizing those tools, having your Google business profile up to date, making sure you're on Google Maps, using Google business profile, all of the features that they have on there. You'd be surprised. You can do promotions. You can create content. There's even a service on there, if it's implemented, that if somebody finds your business, they don't have to go and find a phone. Pick up their phone. You can click the button and it'll call you directly. Save them time. Make it easy for them. The other one, number 6, is not using email marketing. And we have, this is a mindset shift, because a lot of people, I don't want to do email because people get too many emails. You're right. We all get too many emails. Nobody wants to be on another list. But if it's a product or a service or a business that I like, I open their email. Every time I get an email from Target, I open it. For those in the beauty industry, that goes to Ulta Beauty, for makeup or whatever it is, every time they send something, I open it. For my local, it's a place that I like to get little cakes from. Every time they do special seasonal changes, I open those emails. So your clients and people who sign up for your list, they want your emails because they've opted in to get them. Always send emails, and not just marketing emails. Call, you're shaking your head because we know, right? You create information emails, you're answering their question. There's so many things you can do with email as part of your business. And a lot of local businesses aren't maximizing that feature, that service, that they're not doing email marketing. And then again, we talked about this, is not asking for reviews. This has to be a part of your business. Even if you're not online, reviews, it's known as reviews to local businesses, but for us, it's known as testimonials, right? It's testimonials. Somebody likes your product, your service, you should get a review. You should get a testimonial. regardless, even if they say 2 words, you can help them. You can interview them. You can give them a script. You can fill in the blank. You can, it's all, again, this is content. When somebody creates a testimonial, it's another piece of content. You can say, hey, I know you said you like the service. Let me pull out my phone and say what you liked about the service. And that's another piece of content you can use on all of these places. And it provides social proof. So that's 7 things that I can think of just off the top of my head that, mistakes that people are making in their small businesses, in their local businesses that really could help them excel. Even if they did 2 or 3 of these, it would change the trajectory of their business.
I love that.
Ooh, fire.
You guys think about which one you guys can apply today, or even next time you guys think about your business, y'all watching on YouTube or listening to. You guys think about just those things. That's awesome. I think the review one sticks out to me, because like this is your niche, but this is your people. These are your people listening to you, right? You want to hear like, what can I do better just for you guys? And these 10, 20, 50, 100 people that you're a part of, these are like your most important people. And once you get them, you're going to get more people like just like them. So, I love the review part. I think I'm going to get to that as soon as possible.
Okay.
It was interesting too, Tonya. When I think about this, sometimes I'm like, am I thinking too deep about this deeply? But the cool thing about it is that all in my opinion, all that you mentioned, there's a psychological aspect to some of it. For example, when you talked about emails, a lot of people think too, yeah, people don't check their emails anymore. That's dead. I know for me, most of my customers come from email. If I keep giving them reminders, I'm giving them content, I'm giving them something to think about. And I know for me, when I'm, even like masterminds that we're part of, I know for me, if I don't get emails, I'm trained to get emails now. If I don't get emails, I'm kind of upset. I'm like, dang, where
is he? Like, what?
Where you at? Something's wrong with my week.
They still doing business? Where's that email? Yeah.
Right. So it's like you get in the groove of it. Your customers see that you're doing it. They want to help. If you're serving them on a high level and you're doing it to the best of your ability, they want to help. Yeah. So for us as business owners, it's important to be mindful of that, and to be sensitive to that, because, they're helping your business, yes, but you're helping them, and it's a relationship.
Absolutely.
And that's part of the relationship. That's part of the culture that you can build with it. And so that's one of the benefits of the list that you mentioned. And I personally love that, because I know for me, I was one who was intimidated by it. And that was my mindset. But I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Most customers come from emails. That doesn't make sense, but it is. It is what it is. Let me keep working with that, and keep doing that. I got to work on the review part. I ain't gonna lie.
Well, I think about this from the email perspective, and what we've been talking about, how everything relates back. If you have a system for email, if you have a system for reviews, you automate that, and then you're not thinking about it, and then it's not part of your psyche. Like, you forget that you've even put this. You can put a whole email campaign together to ask for reviews, to get you out of your head thinking about, I don't want to ask. No, you put this process in, every time they do this, they get an email. They do this, they get an email. And then it's just part of the process, and you don't think about it. And then when those emails start coming in, those testimonials start coming in, you're like, oh my gosh, it's working. Oh my gosh, look at all of these testimonials I have.
Right. And that's where someone like you in your niche, you can help people in your niche out with that, to kind of help them break through that barrier and getting it done. And I love how you said automation too. That's my jam.
Automation. That's the thing. We can't do everything. I mean, we're more busy as a human race than we've ever been. I mean, some people sit in traffic for 4 hours a day, to and from work. So that's, eating up your time, and then you still have to do the other things. And what do they say? When life start lifing. So if you can automate as much as possible, you can take that headache away, sit down and do it one time, and have it all going out here in the universe without you even thinking about it.
Right. And that is a good feeling, my friend. That is a good feeling.
Right.
Yes. Tonya, can you tell us the significance and the benefits of having a done-for-you lead generation service?
Yes, that is such a good question for a number of reasons. You know, when we're talking about local businesses, especially, they have a ton of hats that they're wearing, right? They have a ton. And it's a lot of them don't want to be marketing experts, and that's fine. They want to do the business that they're doing. But what they don't realize is you can start with a done for you service, get that going, and maybe transition into I'm going to do it myself. Once you get the infrastructure, once you get the process, once you get the system set up. And if you're a local business and you have a team, you have employees, you can assign different tasks to people. So some of the significance of having a done for you service for lead generation specifically is time and resources. You know, as an expert in the field, I'm going to know things that they may not know, they may not think about. So I'll save you time. I'll save you looking for the resources. And like I said, we'll get them set up and maybe we can transition into how you can do these things on your own. Another thing is expertise and optimization. Optimization might not be a word that local businesses are used to, but think about optimization as, I like to think of it as your gas. It's certain types of gas you can put in your car to optimize the mileage, right? It's certain kind of tires you can put on your car to help optimize the gas and get better mileage or get longer wear on your car. So think of optimization like that. There are certain things that you can do to optimize your business, to optimize your Google profile, to optimize your website. So I could help with some of those optimization tasks that you may not think about. And then the last thing really that everybody wants is to be able to scale and grow. Because if you are not increasing your customer base, you're not growing. So you want to make sure you have systems in place to make it easy to scale. You want to make sure you're constantly doing marketing. A lot of people in business, they will get a customer, market, get a customer, stop. Market, get a customer, stop. What I want to do with my businesses is your marketing should be working for you while you sleep, while you're working with your clients, while you're in booking your appointments, while you're on vacation. Your marketing should never, ever, ever stop, right? Because what you're doing in marketing today, you may get a customer tomorrow. You may get them 2 weeks from now. Sometimes they might follow you for 2 years. But if you constantly market, you're going to bring in customers or at least some type of leads that can lead you to a customer to close that deal. Does that make sense?
Totally. Love that. Yes. Optimize. You broke it down with that too. Woo! It's so true. It's so important, you know, and it's maybe I'm biased and I market, but I didn't find what you said like to be geeking out too much. I love it. I think it's important for the business owner to understand. And one of the, you know, any industry, in my opinion, whatever industry you're in, you know, business owners, it's important to understand those things and be reminded of those things, because those are the things that people could shun away from. But when you add the whole thing of optimization, automation to it, it just helps out and makes the systems better. But to be mindful of it so that you can go towards that direction. It's only going to make your business better. Only make it better. Only.
It's easy to not pay attention to it, like you're saying. Like, it's easy to miss it, you know. But if you're constantly aware, you'll constantly optimize yourself to be in a good position tomorrow and going forward when you aren't there, you know. Just like setting it up beforehand so the system can just do its thing. That's what I love automation. That's one of the best parts of business.
Absolutely, I agree.
Optimization, yes. Optimize.
And while you might not think I'm geeking out, you have to think about I think you are biased. We are biased because we live in this world, right? We if you think about it, if it's somebody who is that medical spa, they're used to doing the treatments that they do, the, you know, whatever the medical service that they're doing, they know their business. They don't know marketing, right? So they may never have heard of that word optimization in terms of from a marketing perspective. So Yeah, I want to make sure that I'm not geeking out too much because I can go there. I'm sure you can. We have a good time talking about it.
I know I got my poker face on. I'm like, inside, I'm like that. But yeah, no, it is important, and you're right. It is important for us to paint the picture and keep it simple for people, but I love the analogy you gave when it came to the mileage with the car and everything. I'm thinking about Valvoline. I'm not sure if you have a Valvoline where you're at, but I can't help but think about Valvoline and getting my car serviced. That's where I went. But doing it like that, and I'm not sure if you do that even with your content, but that's super helpful. So even if you are passionate about it and geeking out about it, you break it down like that. You paint a clear picture, and you make people say, "Okay, I get it. It's kind of like that," So I appreciate that you giving that analogy. That was super important and key.
Cool.
So yes. So Tonya, so I am in the medical. I have a medical spa business, and I want to get my stuff out there. I want to get my services out there. I want to be able to express my brand and maximize myself, me expressing my team, expressing my brand. How can one find you and get the help if I'm like saying, help, please? Where can I go to find you online?
So that's a great question. The first thing I would say is I have a free checklist. It's called Profile Domination, profiledomination.com. profiledomination.com. If they go there and download their Profile Domination checklist, that gives you the step-by-step framework that you need to at least get you started. Okay. From there, if you want a little bit more help or you want to check me out, go to my website, SavvyBizBuilder.com. And then I'm also on all social media at Savvy Biz Builder. So I'm easy to find. I'm there to help. But definitely start with profiledomination.com.
Yes. And you said checklists. I know, Look, I know if I'm flying from here to Miami, from Boston to Miami, my airplane pilot better have a checklist. So checklists are important.
They have a system in place. They absolutely do have a system.
I'm just saying.
And Tonya, you hear them on the speaker that say, cross check, they're doing all of their checks. They have their checklist. So, they have it.
So we better have ours. Safe. Yep. We better have ours. Tonya, thank you so much for joining us. This was a treat having you here on the podcast episode.
Thank you for having me.
It's really grateful. And thank you for your energy, your passion for what you do. And I know you serve your clients to the highest ability. So thank you so much. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep taking it to the world. Yeah?
Yep. Got it.
There you have it. We hope you enjoyed our podcast. If you would be so kind, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, or if you're listening to any of our platforms, whether it's Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whichever one, please be so kind to give us a 5-star rating if you enjoyed the podcast. And we'll talk to you soon.